I'm quite upset. Hi, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content, if you find it useful, helpful, insightful, if you can relate in any way, shape or form, or if you just want to give this channel some love. I really appreciate it. If you don't know who I am Sandra, author of this beautiful book, Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity. I'm also the author of this book, Fibromyalgia, How to Manage Fibromyalgia, have less pain, more energy and feel happier like a superhero rock star. I'm also the founder of asexualized.com, the founder of Asexuality Academy. Welcome to tonight's episode. I'm glad that I can stream for you tonight. And I am feeling quite emotional at the moment. So in the last video, I told you that I was meeting a younger guy in my city in the UK at last. He's foreign, 24, aesthetic type in terms of like short dark hair, clean shaven, thin, beautiful skin color, very intelligent person. And yeah, so I wasn't sure it was a date or a business meeting or, you know, meeting me to talk about business stuff or friendship. I didn't really know what it's for. I guessed in part it was going to be like one of those dates that was not a real, that was not called a date, but I didn't really know, right? And yeah, so what happened? He was a minute late. I never text me. I know it's only a minute, so I did say you. He goes, "Oh, I'm on time, right?" I said, "Actually, you're a minute late." But there you go. As an asexual person, we know how difficult it is, don't we? Like dating and relationships can be really difficult. Like last night I had, well, the early hours this morning, I had the most amazing time ever. I was out dancing, really enjoying myself, feeling so good, happy to be single, happy to dance with different guys, feeling on top of the world. Music was pumping, my soul was alive. I absolutely adored everything about the night. I got to dance with 3 different guys, hold their hands, had a really amazing time and everything was good. So this guy, I thought he was trustworthy and reliable, and I'm glad to say he is. So there were quite a number of things that was good about this guy. He's not a liar. He's an honest person, as far as I could understand from what he was saying. He's not a guy that's just after sex. He's a guy that doesn't have sex before marriage. And I guess that's the crux of the matter, really. You know, there's a big difference between being asexual and, like he said, he's not asexual. And yeah, so I was talking to him and I was asking him if he did have a girlfriend, because I thought I shouldn't assume just because he's met up with me that he hasn't got a girlfriend. So he said that he hadn't got a girlfriend. And I did ask him what type of person is his, you know, what type of relationship is his ideal relationship. He doesn't want kids, but he prefers to be married. So that's interesting because I don't want kids. I found that very interesting that a foreign guy doesn't want children. So that was in his favor. And he doesn't believe in cuddling his friends, which is another boundary that I don't think should be crossed. So he was the same as me on that. He is attracted to females that don't just sit at home doing nothing. They're busy following their goals, ambitions and dreams and passions in life. So I guess he was probably attracted to me for that reason. And he's not bothered about age. I know he said age is just a number, you know, it's how you actually are, you know, that matters. So you know, and he was saying stuff like about, he was asking me questions because he told me that, I said, when he said about he hadn't had a girlfriend because, you know, he's moved around, you know, he moved from his country to the UK, and it was very interesting hearing how that happened, how he moved to the UK, you know, how hard it was to get into the UK. And I said, yeah, a lot of guys I know, they, you know, they just can't even be bothered to even go through all their HMRC jobs in the UK, sponsored jobs. You know what I mean? They expect me to get them into the country or expect to marry me for a visa, neither of which I'm doing. You know, it's up to, you know, and he was saying that's why foreign guys seem a lot more intelligent, because not because they're more intelligent than British guys, but because they apply that intelligence and they're very proactive rather than reactive, which I thought was a really interesting thing, because it was very interesting talking to him to understand more about his culture, to understand more about what it's like for a foreign guy to be here. I mean, he's been in this country 3 years, but you know, obviously with Brexit and everything, you don't know if he's going to be sent back to his own country. I mean, he's got a job at the moment, but you know, he doesn't know 100% what's going to happen, because I said, are you going to be in Exeter like for good now? He said, well, probably at least for 5 or 6 years if they'll have him in the job, but who knows, like in the future. So that's uncertain anyway. But yeah, he was really interested to know more about asexuality and how it is for me, which was nice to be listened to about that. But he didn't understand, because I told him I'm asexual, but I have some sexual behaviour. And he didn't understand that sexual behaviour was different to sexual attraction. I think in the end he probably understood it, but he didn't really get that sexual attraction is different. So that was quite difficult explaining that to him. Yeah, it's quite hard trying to make him understand that. But I explained the difference between arousal, sexual attraction, sexual desire, and sexual behaviour. So he's saying, oh, you're kind of between sexual and asexual. I said, no, I'm definitely asexual, because I don't experience a sexual attraction whatsoever. I explained to him that when I did kiss the Indian guy last year in the club for an hour, I felt no arousal whatsoever. There was nothing. He was quite shocked at that. I said, there's nothing there. It's just the kissing. There's nothing there physically. And then he was talking to me and I was explaining about my exes, about the fact I'm an asexual that has had sex in the past, but I just can't do that anymore. You know, I can't do that anymore. I'm feeling quite emotional at the moment, you know. So yeah, I can't do that anymore. I said in 2014 I went to a counsellor because I couldn't have sex with a guy anymore. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Like mentally, I just can't do it. You know, my mind just stops me from doing it. I just can't do it. And he said, what did she say? And I said, she said, I have to have sex in order to keep a good guy. I'm saying, but that's such bad advice. You know, it's such bad advice. Like, it basically means, well, if I want a good guy, then I have to have sex. It's just really bad advice. He didn't really say anything to that. So I'm not really sure he understood my point of view. There wasn't really a reaction about that, which I was a bit surprised about, I guess. I guess I was looking for some sort of reaction to it. But maybe I don't know. I thought, are you in agreement with her or what? But there wasn't really any reaction. So I don't really know what he thought about that. But I guess it doesn't really matter, because I know it's not a good thing to say. Do you know what I mean? But he was trying to ask me, I think he was trying to assess, because he did say in the beginning that he confirmed he hadn't got a girlfriend, that because he'd moved around a lot from his country to this country, then he'd been studying in a different university, so he wasn't really looking for anyone until he settled down in a job, which he is now. He said, so he has been looking for a girlfriend but not found anyone suitable since he's been in Exeter. So he is on the lookout for a girlfriend. Yeah, and he said, oh, I like to ask strategic questions to find out if the person's, you know, to get to know them better. to find out their personality and what makes them tick, and get to know them as a friend first, which is good. He seemed like a good guy in all those ways, which is nice. But I think it's really difficult when you're an asexual person that is aesthetically attracted to the person in front of you like that. Because he did ask me what my type is, what look I go for. And I said short, dark hair, clean shaven, foreign, thin, coloured skin. Which it pretty much summed him up. But I said I particularly like Indian guy. Bangladeshi and Middle Eastern. So yeah. So I was telling him about the guys at the club, and I said I do have a big heart, so sometimes I do get the wrong guys interested in me, and I can be attracted to the wrong guys as well. But and because I have a big heart and caring, like I worry about foreign guys being alone in the city. But I was telling him about the guy last night, that clearly he's not alone. If he sees a friend an hour later, and sadly they just use it to get sex, these guys. So I've got to not stop being so big-hearted like that, because I have got a really big caring heart. I don't like people to be lonely and stuff. But he was asking me all questions like, about living together, because I said I don't want to live with a person. I want to live in a part together relationship. He's like, well, why wouldn't you want to live in just separate rooms in the house? I said, because I don't really want to share household bills or anything like that. He said, well, I don't. He said, surely it's better to share household bills and have someone pay some of those bills and take some of the pressure off you. And I'm like, but last time when I was with a guy who ended up being not good for me, I was financially stuck. I couldn't afford to move out, so I don't want to be in that situation again. And also, I live a very different lifestyle. I said, where I live in my studio flat, I live in my bedroom. I said, so if a guy was sleeping in my bed next to me, I can't just sleep when he wants to go to sleep at like 10:30 or 11. That's just, I can't do that. I have to get up and do work and stuff. I can't sit there all night doing nothing. I said, I want to be blogging and vlogging and changing lives and helping people, And I said, this is like with washing up. I told him I don't like cooking and cleaning and that for a guy. He laughed at it. He thought it was really funny. I said, but guy wants to come over to my place. He can bring his own food and cook and clean and wash up after himself. I said, I don't want to do that for guys. So some people think I like younger guys because, I want to mother them and stuff like that. It's like opposite. I'm the exact opposite. I said, I don't like doing housework. I said, if a guy wants to cook for me, that's a bonus because I don't like cooking. But I said, I don't want to do it for him. And I said, I'd rather be building a website. I said, I don't even wash up every day. I use it in one go. I get rid of the paper plates, which I use instead of normal plates because I don't like washing up. Cook all my vegetables raw, so I don't have any pans. I don't cook my vegetables, sorry. I have all my vegetables raw, so I don't use any pans. I put Jane Asher cake tins, liners, in the oven. So literally I just throw that away. Do you know what I mean? The only thing I have is mugs and bowls and cutlery that I have to wash up, and I don't do that all at once. Saves on washing up liquid, saves water as well, actually, so it's quite economical. Thanks for the thumbs up, I appreciate it. So I said, I don't do that for a guy. He thought I was very unusual. I said, I'd rather be building a website or something and changing people's lives, helping people stop them killing themselves sometimes. He goes, does your work stop people being suicidal? I said, well, yeah, for some people. For some people, like one of my close friends, they were not in a good way when they met me. They were in, I think, suicidal way. And my book changed their life. This channel changed their life. My best friend, they said they would be where they are today without me. So I think that's really nice. Hi, Ray. I'm getting a bit upset at the moment. So yeah. So I need to do all this important work. It's no good me being in a normal relationship where I'm not able to do all this stuff. The life I explained to him that the life I lead is a very different upside down life. You know, while people are asleep, I'm working till 4 a.m. usually, and then I sleep. Oh, hi, Richard, nice to see you. Lots of love to you too. So that when you know that my lifestyle's not really suited to living together with someone, because I'm literally like doing my work till 4 a.m. quite a lot of the time, and then I go to sleep till midday. Then I get up and do work. Do you know what I mean? So when I'm streaming after this, I'm usually doing work. Do you know what I mean? So I say I live a very different life, you know, and it's not really suitable to live with someone like that. You know, I said, because I can't be going to bed at 10:30, 11 and just sat there doing nothing. I'll be bored rigid. I won't be living my life. It'll be a waste. You know what I mean? I want to get up and blog and vlog and do these videos and do courses and stuff to change people's lives. I can't do that if I'm just sat. You know, I said, I'm not wanting to sit watching TV as well with someone. I said, my ideal relationship would be meeting up with someone like maybe once, twice, or 3 times a week maximum. Probably could only do once at the moment. You know, for quality time with them. But, you know, but messaging every day and in each other's lives all the time. So even when we're apart, we're still together, you know? So I said, you know, that would be that type of thing, you know? And at the end of the time we were together, he said, he did say to me about the text messaging thing, because he doesn't usually do text messaging. He goes, oh, just to let you know from before, I prefer to phone my friends. I pick up the phone and speak to them a lot. And so I said, that's good, but you know, messaging is just as important to me, you know? And I explained that I can't just take a phone call. My friends have to schedule time in if they want to phone me usually, or Skype me. Has to go in on my calendar in my diary. I can't just do that with all the work I do. You know what I mean? I get stressed if I don't do my work. I have to do specific times. You know, I said my best female friend, she wanted to video chat with me last Friday. I was too busy. I had to say to her, no, I'm really sorry. I can't do it. Booked up. Do you know what I mean? Tomorrow night, I should be able to video chat, because it's supposed to be starting tomorrow night. I mean, a 2-hour online business seminar. Well, training. It's a business training for 2 hours, which I need for my new business. Over 2 hours, but it starts tomorrow evening, but it says it's in America time, and I think it's 1 a.m. actually on Friday morning, when it's actually in the UK. So I've got to be on, you know, so I said, well, people are sleeping, you know, I'm busy doing that. I'm busy educating myself, learning stuff, developing and growing, you know. Ray, I message even when I'm chasing someone. I know, Ray, you are absolutely adorable like that. Big love to you. Thank you. I do know that. You know what I mean? I do, you know, like I do wish if I had a boyfriend, he would, he would kind of be a bit more like you with the texting. I have to agree. I have to say that. But I wish you were, but yes, we can't wish, can we? But obviously, yeah, I know age differences me and you's too much, but I do really appreciate you. Oh right. Well, this is not a sexual channel, so, and I don't like muscly guys. There's someone in chat that's writing stuff that I don't like. I'm not interested in muscly guys. I don't like them. And yeah, I don't want sexual speak, thanks. So I appreciate if you go to another channel, because I'm just not interested. So yeah, yeah, it's really not what I want to hear. Go to another channel, thanks. So yeah, it's right. Sorry about that. I don't want to be interrupted. This isn't a sexual channel, so I appreciate if you're sexual, just go to another channel, because I don't want to hear it. So yeah. Anyway, trying to get back to, yeah, I know you were hoping I'd read it out loud, but I'm not going to read it out loud. I'm not interested. Right. Okay, back to the proper live stream. I do apologize for that. Yeah, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so I was talking about the messaging, and I said, I don't have my phone on when he's like, what? I said, I don't have my phone on all the time. I said, my phone is switched off when I'm working usually. He's like, not even on silent. I said, no, I put my phone on silent when it's on, but I don't have my phone on when I'm working. I switch it off a lot of the time because I can't get work done else. So I have notifications of Facebook, emails coming through. Yeah, exactly. He's not wanted like that. I deleted him anyway. He's gone out of here now. I don't want spam people. Yeah, so anyway, he's gone. I got rid of him. It's just a bit difficult when I'm trying to speak and people are like that coming in my stream. So yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, and thanks Ray for sticking up for me as always. So with this guy, I explained that text message is just as important. I said, and that for me, like I don't have my phone on all the time because he said about phoning. I said people have to make arrangements if they want to phone me or Skype me. I can't just do that, it has to be time taken out of my schedule. I said on Monday I Skyped my best friend Sam. And it was a specific time before I started my stream, I said, but it was made beforehand, I mean, I still haven't made, I know I said I'd Skype you, video chat on Facebook, didn't I, Ray? And my best female friend, she's waiting for me to get back to her where I can video chat. Well, I haven't had a chance. Like this week's really busy for me. So yeah, so what was I saying? Sorry. So yeah, and I was explaining to him going up the road, about, I explained to him while I was going up the road, like how text messages are important to keep in touch and because you care about your friends. Otherwise, if you don't hear from someone for 6 or 7 days, it's just like they're an acquaintance. I said, unless you just want to be an acquaintance, then fine. But you know what I mean? I said, unless you just want an acquaintance, then that's fine, basically. I said, I don't think I said you, but a specific, but so yeah, but the sad thing was, is like, when we left to both go home, I said, do you want a hug? So I gave him a hug. And he was kind of just standing there, and I was standing there. And so I'm thinking, do you want me to say anything more? Do you not want me to say anything more? So I decided to say to him that I did have some asexual attraction towards him, because I thought I may as well say it because it's probably pretty obvious anyway. So he asked me what look I go for, and it fitted his description. So I said to him, I said, oh, well, to be honest, I do have some. I said some. I had a lot of asexual attraction, but I said I do have some asexual attraction for you. And he said, yeah, but I'm not asexual. And so I said, yeah, I know. I said, have a nice week. And basically, that was how it was. I did thank him for inviting me out for a drink before that. But, when we were talking about sex and stuff, because obviously it came up, and relationships, he basically wouldn't be able to go without the sex. He said it'd be too hard. He said, I've heard of, I don't know if he'd been talking to someone about asexuality. I don't think he had. I think he must have been talking to someone about not how it is not having sex. And he said, oh, he's not having sex until he gets married. He's made that decision. So I thought that was a good guy. That I thought it was a good guy that does that. So he's waiting until marriage. But obviously that's another major reason why I don't want to get married, because some guys, they just change like that, don't they, when you marry them? Seriously, do you know what I mean? But at least he's honest that, he said, I'm not, he did tell me when he was chatting, he said, I'm not actually asexual, even though I haven't had a girlfriend, because I'm waiting till marriage to do that. He said, but I just think, he said, I've talked to a friend or something, and they say it's really difficult to be able to, he said personally he would find it difficult to not have sex with the person. And he'd find that really, really hard to, because he said you'd be constantly holding yourself back all the time and constantly trying to stop yourself from doing that and constantly having to control yourself all the time like that. And I said, yeah, I need a really strong guy in that way. If I was with a sexual guy, who could do that. I said, but some guys, there's a guy I said on my channel who's got an asexual girlfriend, and he says it's the purest form of love, and he waited 10 years to be with his girlfriend. And he used to be very, very sexual in the past and need sex and stuff, but he's not like that anymore. He used to be a bad boy and he said he did, and a player, you know what I mean? But he's not like that anymore. I said, so some guys who are sexual can be without sex and in a relationship with an asexual person. But he started to talk about blue balls. I mean, I've heard this before, that if you don't have sex, your balls go blue, right? I don't know if you've heard about this. So I actually got told that by an asexual guy years ago as well. I said, what is this blue ball thing? So he said, but I said to him in response to that, I said, a guy can masturbate himself. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have to have intercourse with a woman. He can just masturbate himself to relieve himself. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, oh, I suppose so. I don't think he thought about that. I said, yeah, you can just do that. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have to have intercourse. So, you know, Ray, I have damage done to my front garden. Someone tried to run you down. Oh my God. Ray, that's really bad. Oh my God, I'm so sorry to read that. I guess that's the problem with doing what you're doing. Some people might come after you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, your life is so important. It's a shame you can't catch what people are doing and then just like, well, get it on video camera, then give it to the police without you having to be involved. Do you know what I mean? Ray saves dogs' lives, by the way, if you didn't know what he does. But it's quite dangerous work. I'm really sorry to hear that. Obviously, I haven't had a chance to chat to you today. I've been like working and then out. So I'm glad you're okay. Much love to you as a friend, you know. Yeah, it's a shame really you could do with actually not them knowing who you are, because I don't want anything to happen to you. Do you know what I mean? Mind you, you've got bows and arrows in your house. So a bit stupid, aren't they? And axes. So a bit stupid if they come near you, but obviously I don't think you'd be able to use them, would you? Bow and arrow, you might be able to get away with it in their foot or something. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a bit stupid them coming near you with that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm really sorry about that. Your friendship and you are very important as my friend. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know if you can do something what you do, but do it more safely. Do you know what I mean? Where you're not directly being seen. Maybe you have to wear headgear yourself or something. I don't know. You might have to see if there's any secure way of doing what you do, because I don't want you hurt. Do you know what I mean? It's not safe for you, that type of thing. So what was I saying? Going back to what I was talking about in the stream. So yeah, so basically I did tell him I had some aesthetic attraction to him. But like I was saying, you know, he thinks that, you know, because I told him that I have, you know, I'm open about the fact that I have had sex in the past, and I just tell him about my new asexual guide to sex book that's coming out that I'm working on, and that all the people in there have actually had sex before in the past, and I've had it before, and I was telling him that I've had it with 5 people, 4 were bad with doing it, that the last person was in a long relationship with, they were good at that, you know. And I explained that if I wanted to stop at any point having sex, you know, then he would just stop, even if he's in the middle and about. I'm going to be very explicit now, just an explicit warning, because obviously there might be some sex repulsed asexuals watching this, so I'm going to be a bit explicit. I said, even if my ex was about to come, explode his load. I'm being very, very blunt here, because I think it's very relevant for you to know this, because obviously he's a sexual guy, I'm asexual. It's very interesting and insightful for you to know how I was speaking and what was said and how his reaction is as a sexual, because this can help you understand sexuals just as much as they need to understand us, right? So I said, even if he was doing that and about to come, if I wanted to stop at any point having sex, he would stop. He asked me you know, are you sure? And I said, yeah, and I would stop. I would stop, he would stop, we would stop, you know. And he said, wow, that's really difficult to do that. Usually guys can't do that, you know. So I don't think this guy would be able to control himself in that way, because he's basically saying he couldn't control he would find it really difficult to control not having sex in the first place and that. And I said, well, yeah, I'm being really personal, but I'm very sensitive down there. And sometimes I just can't carry on. Do you know, I couldn't carry on in the past, you know. I'm being very blunt here because, you know, we're all adults, aren't we, pretty much, apart from I'm obviously a young adult. But do you know what I mean? Like some women, being very personal, some women, they just can't have sex physically, or if they do have it, they get oversensitive in that area, they can't do it. Or if for some reason it starts hurting them, they just have to stop doing it, don't they? Do you know what I mean? And any sexual person's got to understand that. You know, anyone's got to understand if anything gets, like, maybe just even touching, like if a certain person's got certain disabilities or illnesses or certain sensitivities, you know, maybe they can't do certain touching all the time. You know, even with my fibro, even a guy, if he's putting his arm around my neck, which I like from a romantic point of view, if I'm leaning on it, that hurts my neck because I got fibro. It's just the way it is for me. That's why when I'm kissing a guy, really, a lot of the time, it's better for me to go on top of him kissing because it's with my disability. It's not good to go on top all the time because it's too much for my arms and my arms start hurting. And then obviously that gives me pain. But, you know, when I'm kissing on top, I can kind of move how I want to move and everything around my neck's kind of free. Do you know what I mean? And so, you know, that's kind of good for me in that way. And so, you know, you've got to be, you know, you've got to be with a person who is okay with doing that. And my ex, he was really good like that, you know. He wasn't good in a lot of ways, but sexually he was very good. It's like two different people. Completely two different people, that's how I can describe it. And so, you know, he would always stop. And I was very grateful and thankful that I have had a good sexual experience. So, you know, there's this really huge myth and stereotype and that all asexuals, you know, if they've had sex, it must be so traumatic, so bad. That's why they never want to have sex again in their life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have had lots of abuse in the past, emotional, physical, sexual abuse. I've had all of them, but the sexual abuse didn't stop me having sex. I had the sexual abuse, my first sexual abuse, when I was 15 years old. I had all my sex relationships with sexual intercourse after that. It didn't put me off. You know, and there was another incident that still didn't put me off. Do you know what I mean? So, because I had it after that, you know, so that didn't put me off. It's just, I just can't do that anymore. I can't bring myself to do that anymore. It's just horrible. I just can't. I did explain to this sexual guy I saw tonight, I did explain to him that, you know, there was a Bangladesh guy I was with, and he cheated on me after 3 weeks, you know? And I said I just couldn't have sex, and I did other things, but I was like forcing myself to do them, you know? And he did understand that. He goes, oh, you really didn't want to do it. You were just like, I was just doing it to please him, and I was just forcing myself to do it, and it's no good, you know? It wasn't good for me. So he did understand that bit. But I think it was very difficult for him to understand me because I do have some sexual behaviour, and it is very hard. You know, I tried to explain to him I feel very stuck because I don't have any sexual attraction whatsoever, nothing. Yeah, I have more sexual behaviour in some ways, not with the sexual intercourse, in some ways than sexual guys. Like when I'm kissing, like I like to kiss my guy. If I'm with a guy, I like to kiss and hold hands. I like to kiss him around theme parks, zoos, aquariums. I like to, you know, I like to sit him on his lap, even in public. I like to sit in between his legs, have really close physical body contact with clothes on, privately and publicly. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, different stuff in private. You know, like sitting on guy's lap, it would be in public. Do you know what I mean? You know, and stuff like that. So it is very, very, very difficult, you know. But I'm not sexually attracted to guy whatsoever, and I like to keep my clothes on. I don't need to touch him below the waist. I don't want to do that. I don't need to see him naked below the waist, you know. So I find that very, very difficult, and because he can understand why, if I've been on asexual dating sites since 2014, why I couldn't get a asexual partner. He goes, there must be someone, it must be easy for you to get someone. I'm like, really? No. Really, it's not. Do you know what I mean? And he didn't understand that. You know what I'm saying? He just didn't get that, you know. And he, you know, I was trying to explain to him, but it's so hard. And one of the things that made me upset more than anything, which is really weird, is he said to me, he was talking to me, and we got on to talking. I said, yeah, my default setting is being in a relationship, right? That's my default setting, which I've programmed into me from being young. I said, but it's difficult for me because I like going out dancing. I said, really, I need a guy to go dancing with because I really love dancing. And it wouldn't really be right if I was in a relationship to dance with other guys. So I would rather, it'd be, it'd be difficult for me because, when you're in, he said, oh, maybe you could like give that up for the right guy. And I was thinking, well, I can give up actually dancing because it makes me feel alive and it's good for my body and I feel really great when I do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe I just have to go dancing with him. But if he didn't want to dance at all, it would be no good, really, would it? Do you know what I mean? It'd be no good, really. Because I come alive, it's who I am. I don't want to end up in a relationship where I'm ever thinking to myself, but I wished I was out dancing right now. My body's not feeling so good because it's good for my fibro. I know it sounds really weird, but because I'm so happy when I do it, because all the adrenaline's rushing, it keeps my body fit. Do you know what I mean? I'm fitter than loads of people there. This guy, like I said, was out of breath last night. And he's really in birth certificate age. I'm guessing he's a bit younger than me. I don't know if he's in his late 20s or early 30s. I couldn't work it out because he had a beard, and that made him look older anyway. But one of his friends looked older than him and the other one looks younger, so I don't know. But he was literally going, I said, are you okay? Are you out of breath? And he's like, yeah. So, you know what I mean? But I really need to go out dancing. And it's a part of who I am, really. Like for years, with my best female friend, I watched her do karaoke for years, right? And I love my best female friend in a friend way. And I watched her do karaoke for years. So I was in an older environment, but it wasn't me. And all the time I was there, I think I love seeing my friend. I love watching her sing. I'm really happy I'm spending time with my friend. But at the same time, my soul was a bit dying in the sense that I was constantly thinking in my head, I should be going out dancing and clubbing in a young club. I should be around young guys because I've got no chance of meeting a guy for a relationship in this type of environment because they're all older. There's a couple of younger guys, but not many. And it was difficult because I love seeing my best female friend. I loved, watching her sing. I was happy to be there to support her. I'm glad I had that time with her to see her sing. She's an amazing singer. It really made me happy. So, but I was consciously aware that there was times when I was thinking stuff like, I really need to be in a young environment. I really need to go out. And my worry for myself would be that I'd be in a relationship and I would still be thinking stuff like this. And eventually I would have to say something to the person, or I just not really be true to myself. And that's very, very poisonous for your soul. Do you know what I mean? It's your own fault if you get yourself into that thing. So you know what I mean? I don't really think people should be sacrificing unless they really, really want to, unless their soul wants to. Do you know what I mean? Because maybe your brain wants to, but your heart doesn't, or your heart wants to, but your brain doesn't, or your soul, your brain and heart does, but your soul doesn't, Like, I feel so happy going dancing at this place. I feel so alive, so elated, so good about myself, so good about just dancing and being alive and being happy. And like I've got fibro. Fibro makes you really take stock of your life. When I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in 2014, my whole life changed for the better forever, for the better forever. And that's saying something, right? For the better, it took me 6 months to come to terms with the fact I've got a disability for life. People who've got fibromyalgia, a lot of them are on crutches. You can end up in a wheelchair with it. Just imagine being told, oh, by the way, you've got disability and it's for life. Do you know what I mean? And this is the finding out that that's the end result that you could end up being, right? That's when my life completely changed. After 6 months of coming to terms with disability for life, all of a sudden I realised to stop being depressed. I realized that the depressed mindset I'd been in for years was going to cause me more pain, and I would basically be making myself on crutches or in a wheelchair, because what your mind and your body pain correlation is directly linked, right? So unless you stop thinking painful stuff in your mind, your body won't ever stop being in pain. The least painful stuff you think in your mind, the less your body will be in pain, or conscious pain, should I say. You know, with fibro, it's very much real. I still get pain. I block out a lot bit with the power of my mind. And because I eat the right foods and avoid eating the wrong foods, cut them out from my diet, you know, then basically the food I eat, you know, then basically I'm a lot more healthier, happier, and have more energy than a lot of people with fibro, you know. And I just knew after 6 months I had to stop depressive thoughts. I had to stop being negative. I had to stop being you know, having a bad mind, saying bad self-talk to myself, you know. Just need some water. So yeah, so that was very, what did Ray say? I sent you some photographs of my garden. I can't look at the photographs now, Ray, because I'm on stream. I'm fit for my age. Sean, glad you feel glad to be alive. I don't. Okay. Well, I suggest if you're not feeling good to be alive, you get some therapy, like see a counsellor or psychologist, something like that, or change your mindset is the best way. So yeah, so I realized that if I didn't change my mindset, that I would literally end up on crutches in a wheelchair, and that was a threat to my freedom. I just would not do. You know, there's absolutely no way I was going to put myself through that and know that I caused that myself, you know. So that just completely changed my life. Now I live in the moment. I have to have some play, what I call playtime, nourishing my inner child. I have to have some time to do fun things, to be my true authentic self, because life is too blooming short. You know, I don't want to end up on crutches or a wheelchair, but I'm very, very aware that that is what one possibility that could happen. You know, and I will, to the best of my ability, always stop or prevent that from happening as much as possible. And I want to make sure I've lived life completely to the max if that does ever happen. So that I've gone out dancing, used my legs, used my whole body in a productive, good, non-sexual way. Then, you know, it's really, really important that, you know, you change your own life yourself. No one else can do it for you. You know, I've had loads of counselling and stuff in the past, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to the fact that you've got to change yourself. No one else can do it for you, you know. But counsellors can help you, psychologists can help you, therapists can help you. Ray, yeah, Ray, you're a kind-hearted guy. So yeah, so basically, it's really, really important that, you know, you know that you're in charge of your own life, and it's up to you to basically do the work yourself. In the end, that's what I found out with all the counselling I had. You know, it's up to me to change my life. You can sit there and people can listen to you and can talk, which is good. Talking therapy is very, very good. But you just need to act and change your mindset. And anyway, I had a bad mindset for years, and then I just changed. I changed because I realised if I kept in the depressed state I was in, I would cause myself to be physically immobile, and that was a threat to my freedom. I never want to do that. So now I live the opposite. I'm a positive mindset person, positive self-talk. I'm not saying I'm like this 100% of the time, because I can be quite self-critical at times. But yeah, you know, I try and maintain a positive attitude. And exactly, Ray, at the end of the day, only you can do it. Yeah, it doesn't matter what happens. At the end of the day, only you can do it. And I know people have changed their mind. I mean, I used to suffer depression for years. So I've done it. So it can be done. The only person that can do it, really, at the end of the day, is you. Doesn't matter how many people you talk to, who you go to advice. It all stems down to you. You're the one who you have to spend 365 days a year with. You are the one who has to make the change and the difference in your life. No one else. It's not anyone else's responsibility. It all comes down to you. You have to start liking yourself, loving yourself, you're going to be with yourself 365 days a year anyway, day in, day out, second to second. So if you're not loving yourself and changing yourself, why should anyone else do that? And no one else can change you unless you're prepared to change. No one can change you. Do you know what I mean? No one can change you. Only you can do it yourself. And that's what I realised after all the therapy and counselling and stuff. Well, mostly counselling I had in the past, that only I can change myself, you know? And so that's what I did. And then that was the catalyst for all good things in my life. So, yeah, it was really, really good that fibromyalgia literally saved my life. Do you know what I mean? That's why I'm very different to other people with it. If it wasn't for fibromyalgia, I wouldn't be where I am today. That was a catalyst that started off me having a better quality of life, you know, ironically, because it's the opposite of what most fibro people do. Most people who've got fibro have the worst type of like depression, anxiety. They have no energy. A lot of them don't have much energy. They can't do much, you know, and it was a catalyst for changing my life. It's long overdue. It's that snapped me out of a depression that I've been in since childhood. And it just completely freed me. If you haven't read my Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, by the way, the link is down below. You should grab a copy. It's very insightful because it's autobiographical and shows you how to stop depression and decrease anxiety. So yeah, it's just like, yeah, you are the one. Everything is actually with you. You know, you're the only one who's got the power to change your life. And in that instant, I just stopped all the negative self-talk, stopped all the bad negative stuff about myself. And you know, that's when I went to my first personal professional development business seminar that year, and I got told to change my state through music and movement. I got taught how to do that. And so that's why I listen to loads of young, upbeat, uptune, high tempo, high octane music, you know, to keep myself pumped and hyper. And I was explaining to this sexual guy I had the met up with tonight. I was explaining, you know, all this, the music I use and stuff, you know. And I said, I can't be going to bed at 10:30 or 11. I said, if I go to bed at that time of night, I don't have much energy. I'm tired. I have far more energy if I go to sleep later in the morning. I don't usually go to sleep earlier than 2 a.m. You know, usually it's 4 and then I get up at 12 midday. But I don't usually go to sleep, you know, before 2. I have nightmares a lot of the time. It's not good. But if I go to sleep later, I don't. And I'm more productive. You know, I'm being productive while other people are asleep. And like I said, if I go to bed at 10:30 or 11, I'm so tired. It's just not a life, you know. And I love maintaining my high octane energy state. You know, you can get lots more done. You can live a happier life. You know, and I'm just breaking every sort of norm that fibro people are supposed to have, you know. I break all the conventions, all the norms. I just do things completely the opposite of what fibro people do. Do you know what I mean? I just do everything opposite. And so that's how come my life's so good. I can tell you, Sean, what I did to get me through it. It's okay, Ray. I think you're fine. I think you're fine as you are. So I know if you notice the person's laughing a bit when they say it. So unless they take things seriously, I think it's best to talk to people who take that type of thing seriously. So yeah, so because mental illness is a very serious thing, not something to be laughed about. So yeah, so what was I saying? So when I was seeing this sexual person, you know, I'm glad he's not highly sexual. It's in the sense that he doesn't, you know, he's not sexual with people unless he's in a relationship. He's not going to be like that, which is a good thing. It means I'm quite safe around him. So yeah, so you know, so the one thing that really upset me was the fact that I was talking to him and I said, oh, that was it. He said that because I said I asked what religion he was and he said Christian. And he said, oh, people are quite surprised when I say Christian because it's foreign guys are like a minority where that's concerned. And I said, well, yeah, I do have come across some though that are minority, you know, because that's when I said, oh, are you marriage type then? He said, well, really, ideally, yeah, I think he said. So yeah, and I said, well, I'm more spiritual. I do believe in God, but I'm more spiritual than religious, and I don't go to church. I said, really? No, I said, really, I'm classed as Christian, but I don't go to church, and I'm more spiritual than religious. And he said, oh, you told me you think you've been reincarnated, and I said, yeah, I do. I think I've been here before. And I said, what upsets me the most is I believe I have an Indian soulmate, and that just makes me really, really upset, because I was explaining that I decided to go on a relationship and dating detox where I'm not actively pursuing a relationship. But I still have those guys messaging me anyway, because obviously I do dating relationships, mostly about dating relationships on this channel. So I was thinking, well, how am I going to carry on doing it if I'm not actively pursuing? But just because I'm not actively pursuing doesn't mean to say I haven't got loads of guys interested in me anyway, because I get messaged and emailed and all sorts of stuff. So it doesn't really matter. And then, yeah, so then I got talking about, I believe I've been here before, and I said, I decided to go on a detox because when I was thinking, I believe I've got an Indian asexual soulmate, and I said, with me, I get attracted to guys who build websites with code. I said, I build websites with WordPress, but not code. I said, so when a sexual person says talk dirty to me, I'm there saying talk code to me. He thought that was really, really funny. So he did find that really funny, which I'm quite glad about. I said, but I think I have an Indian soulmate. And I said, I can see him talking to me about coding, and I'm holding his hand and looking at him. And I said, but I decided to go on a relationship and dating detox because I get really upset. It upsets me that I'm not with him, this soulmate. Yeah, it really upsets me. And so I'm not feeling good about it. So I decided to not actively pursue that anymore because it just makes me really sad. And then that activated me being sad again. It triggered me to being sad about an Indian guy soulmate that I haven't met yet. Because honestly, I've told you 1,000 times on this channel, I do believe my soulmate's Indian, which I said at least he's foreign, and at least he's younger and foreign. So obviously the younger guy in front of me is foreign. But yeah, so that's quite upsetting. That's why I'm trying not to actively pursue dating relationships anymore, really, because there's not really any point, is there? Do you know what I mean? It's like, because I told him that I allowed myself to kiss outside a relationship in a club for the first time ever last year. And I told him I kissed this Indian guy, and it was just amazing, incredible experience for me. Obviously it wasn't the right guy after that, but in that moment it was great. I said I don't usually like guys with facial hair, but he had a beard. He goes, oh, you made an exception. It was exceptional. I said, yeah, it wasn't that bad. It didn't get too much in the way of kissing, but yeah, because he's asked me if I like no hair on a guy's chest. Do I like chest hair? Then I said no. He goes, that's kind of hard for a guy not to have chest hair. He'd have to keep pulling the follicles out all the time. I said, well, the guys that I've been interested in, and some of the guys that that I've actually come across, have naturally got no chest hair. He was quite shocked by that. He said, that's really rare. I said, yeah, but a lot of the guys that I've been with hardly had any, or they've been completely bare chested. And it does seem quite weird that I happen to end up being with the guys or dating the guys that don't have that. It is quite strange if you think about it. It's a minority, but I seem to attract those type of guys. But I said I have no problem kissing, licking, and sucking a guy's nipples. His face was really funny. But I said, that's it. I don't want to touch him below the waist. I said, obviously, if you're kissing a guy's chest and he's got chest hair, it's not particularly nice. You get a mouthful of hair. So you get, and I said I shave my arms and legs. I do it every day in the shower. He goes, well, you only need to do it once a week, don't you? I'm like, no, I do it every day. Every day I'm in the shower. So sometimes if I have 3 showers in a day, when I went out clubbing yesterday, I had 3 showers in 24 hours. So one before I went clubbing, one before I went out in the daytime food shopping, another one before I went out clubbing, and another one when I got back from clubbing because I'm soaked in sweat. So 3 showers in less than 12 hours, basically. I said, I'm there shaving each time. Not that I really need to exactly, but I'm kind of convinced my stubble or my legs just come back a tiny little bit in those short hours. So now I've got to shave. So yeah, so I've got baby soft skin. I said I'm only attracted to younger guys. Like I like baby soft skin. I said there's, when I joined Indian dating group, I said I applied for it ages ago. I said, and then the other day I got like 7 Indian guys interested in me in less than 12 hours. I said, but the one that wasn't interested in sex, he was an older Indian guy, but he's just too old for me. And he said, yeah, but everyone gets older. I said, yeah, but some guys, they have like a baby face and they don't really age. And a lot of the guys like that, they hate the way they look and they start wearing beards specifically to make them look older. But it's like, no, I like you looking like a young guy. So some guys have naturally got baby faces. They don't really age that much. So that's the type of guy I like. Oh dear, I don't want much, do I? But yeah, so it was kind of hard because he did trigger the thing with Indian guy, and it does upset me a lot, because I'm that convinced it's true. I mean, at the end, maybe it's a guy. I'm still working on my machine. Ray's still working on his time machine. Bless him. I know. Oh yeah, but your work's dangerous anyway. I couldn't be with a person whose work's dangerous like that, and I'll be frightened for my life. Do you know what I mean? It's not a very good place for a woman to be in. Do you know what I mean? It's not safe. Do you know what I mean? It's not good. I appreciate the work you do though for animals. Is incredible. I really appreciate that. It's very dangerous work. Do you know what I mean? You don't want people after you, which you've got. It's not good. But I'm glad people like you exist in the world. You do make the world a better place for animals, but I think you need to find a safer way of doing it. So yeah, so I found that quite difficult, that he triggered the Indian thing. And obviously it is a little bit sad that this guy can't be without sex, because in some ways he seems a really nice person. Do you know what I mean? He's honest. He seems, he seems like he doesn't agree with sex before marriage. He doesn't just get into a relationship with a female. He thinks things through. Like he thinks of consequences. For example, he said that there was a couple of women he liked at his university, but he didn't want to get into a relationship because he knew he wouldn't be staying in that area when he got a job. So he didn't want to break. He doesn't want to break a girl's heart, which is very different to other guys. And he likes theme parks as well. He loves theme parks, which obviously I like. He doesn't want kids. So that was in his favour. So look, I like as well. So there's kind of a lot, kind of half stuff that was, what I would be attracted to. But, so I don't know if I'm going to see him again or not. I'm not going to contact him again. I think, if he wants to message me or do whatever he can. We're still friends on Facebook. But I said to him when I said about I do have some aesthetic attraction to you, I said, I guess you already knew that anyway, from the fact, I told you, he asked me what my ideal person looked like. So I told him, I told you what my ideal person looked like, and you pretty much fit that description. He goes, yeah, I know. He goes, I said, so I guess you already knew that anyway. He goes, yeah, I guessed it because you liked one of my photographs on Facebook. I said, yeah, but I like the photograph of you and your friends, the photograph of you and your family. And he's like, oh, which friend? I said, your best friend. He said, which friend? I said, I don't know, because you haven't told me all about your friends. He likes listening. He's an ambivert as well. But I mean, the other day he went out with 35 people. So a group of 35. Oh my gosh. The right man will come when the time is right. Oh, thank you, Ray. Yeah, so yeah, I just that's why I'm not actively pursuing a relationship anymore. I don't think there's a point at the moment. I'm happier when I think about my business stuff, when I pursue my goals, ambitions, and dreams, when I take care of myself, when I go out dancing and dance with several different guys, and people love my dancing and they really appreciate it. Most of them do anyway. And the whole music, the whole atmosphere, and like I said, I don't believe in like not having fun in life here and now. So many people are concerned about the future and the past, and they forget to live for now. And I won't be that type of person. I know from my fibre, you have to live in the moment for now. If I don't go out dancing, right, and don't live my life to max now, if anything should happen to me, I'll end up, not being able to walk very well years later. I would regret it. That I would regret more than anything. And also not doing my books, not doing my writing or courses, everything like that I would regret. I mean, what is the point? You know, like, I don't see a point to life unless I'm helping other people. Do you know what I mean? Unless I'm living my passions, my dreams. Writing is my hugest life purpose, and followed closely by asexuality. You know, helping people, helping change lives is why I'm here. That's why I exist. Do you know what I mean? I'm here to serve people, to help people, here to help you, and, you know, loads of people. That's what I'm here for. That's my purpose. Years ago, I didn't have a life purpose. So now I have lots of life purposes. You know, it's good. But, you know, I'm not going to be one of these type of people that's going to sit in a house, curled up in front of the TV with a boyfriend or partner or husband, wasting my life away. I know that sounds horrible to a lot of people because they're like, oh, that's not a waste if you're sat with the one you love. But I mean, yes, if I'm sat with the one I love watching boring TV that I don't even like and not doing anything, like doing a vlog post or doing a vlog like this and actually, you know, educating people to help change their life, you know. You know, I got messaged yesterday night before I went out clubbing, which is why I couldn't do a live stream before, because I was having two asexuals messaging me. One is one of my best friends, another was a guy that doesn't really talk to me very much. And he said, I know I don't really check out your page very often, but I wanted to let you know that I'm really grateful and thankful for all the work you do for asexuals, all the work you do for us, because if I'm asexual and can relate to it, there must be other people like us. And he said, it's very valuable work and I really appreciate you, basically. And I really appreciate what you do and appreciate your page and really thank you very much for doing that. And, you know, it just made my night. You know, it just made my night. You know, and he was explaining that he thinks he's demisexual now. But you know what I mean? He just like really thanked me, like 3 messages. So it was all appreciation, all thanks for the work I do for asexuals, all the thanks I carry on. He goes, I still think it's a good idea to carry on your page because I think there are people like me who want that and need it. As you know, I really appreciate it. I just wanted you to know it. And I just thought that was really, really nice. You know, we've been friends on Facebook for a while now, but he doesn't really send much apart from petitions for stuff. And so he didn't really speak to me that much before. So this is the first time he spoke to me quite a bit. And it happened to be before I was going clubbing. I didn't eat my food till like nearly 10 o'clock at night last night. It was a busy day. And so, yeah, I just felt so good, you know. That's why I'm here in life, to help others. And, you know, that's my life purpose. I can't be wasting my life away, endless hours watching TV when I should be doing this and other things to change people's lives. You know, in an hour, a person's life can change just like that. Do you know what I mean? In a few minutes, someone's life can completely change for the better forever. Do you know what I mean? Just because they heard something they've never heard before. And it's like, wow, I didn't think about that. And it just sets off really positive emotions or a whole chain of events that leads to the best outcome in their entire life. You know, that's all you need is sometimes, you know, like that epiphany moment I had 6 months after coming to terms with my disability for life. It was just revolutionary, you know. All of a sudden, I just decided to stop the negative self-talk. I'm like, if you don't stop it, you'll end up in crutches to a wheelchair. Do you want that? Yes or no? If you don't, stop it right now. And then when I went to the business seminar and realised that I can change my state through music and movement, that's when I realised that I need to lead my young teenager life. This is the way I was always born to be. It really connected with my soul. It made me come back to the person I'm actually meant to be. It made me realise that I am a young girl, that I need to be doing young stuff, that my birth certificate age means absolutely nothing. And it's not really who I am, and that the teenager lifestyle is the one I want to live forever because it makes me feel elated, excited, and makes me good. You know, it helps combat fibro because I do the opposite of what you're told to do with fibro or believe you're meant to do or can't do, you know. And Ray, you changed the way I think. Oh, bless you. Oh, bless you. I'm glad you're living your purpose. It's good. I'm glad, Ray. Thank you so much. Lots of love to you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. I know you said you're fond of me too. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. I really do. You know, whenever I get appreciation, it just makes me feel so good, you know, because I don't want to keep doing this channel or keep doing the asexual stuff I do unless people want to hear it and have it. But, you know, I do get a lot of people interacting in at least like 2 of my, you know, there's 2 of my groups that get quite a lot of interaction on Facebook. And, you know, it's so nice that people tell me what's going on in their life and share their photographs. And, you know, I can't always keep up with everything because I do a lot of work, but I try and be in there as much as I possibly can to answer people's comments and to give some feedback or give them likes or something. But obviously when I'm doing really full on work, I can't always be in there. But Do you know what I mean? It's really nice that people take time out their day to like share their day and what's going on in their life. It's really good. I think it's very important for asexuals to like chat with each other in there as well, comment on each other's posts and get involved in their lives as well, you know. So yeah, that's why I can't live this ordinary relationship life. I just can't do a normal relationship. It doesn't work for me. I can't. I've lived that life in the past. Believe me, I've lived the 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 life where you come, you go to a normal job, come home, sit and watch TV with your partner. Don't really do that much. Maybe work on one hobby. That's about it. And yeah, I have to say that I was unhappy, miserable. I mean, the guys I was with at the time, well, not, I wasn't with guys plural at the time, but the guys I've been with in the past doing that with, it didn't make me happy. I see my life now. I see my life back then. It's completely changed. I'm really happy, really excited, really hyper. I love being hyper. You know, people, some people think being hyper is a problem. It's like, no, I'm naturally a hyper person. Just like there's millions of people in the world that are like peace and quiet, that like nature, that like, like being calm. Just because they like being that doesn't mean to say it's the only way to be normal. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. People think like if most of the world is calm or introverted or living a quiet life, most people live that. Sometimes people think there's something wrong with you if you're hyper naturally, like you've got to have a condition or some problem. It's like, no, I'm hyper naturally because I want to be hyper naturally. It takes a long time to maintain and sustain being hyper actually. Do you know what I mean? I have to listen to high octane music. I'm just used to doing it. High octane music, living my passions, living my dreams, just being authentic me, living a quirky teenage life. Like I said, if I was going to bed at 11:30 or 12, 10:30, 11 every night, I'm sure I wouldn't be as much like this. I'd be drained of energy, really tired. Ray, you giving me the motivation to do my house up. Oh, bless you. Yeah, you should do it, Ray. Paint some lovely colours on the wall. Get some colour into you. You did get some colour into you, didn't you? You got a camouflage bow. But just do it. Even if you don't want to inject some colour, you could do a more modern design, modern carpet, modern tiles or paper, or do you know what I mean? Put some modern stuff in there, or do half modern, half traditional, half retro, or whatever. Some people like mix two together, don't they? Which is quite an interesting combination. Even. Yeah, so I think it's really good to because when you do up your house, I mean, you haven't read my Fibromyalgia self-help handbook, have you? But in here, it talks about environment as being one of the things you need to change. And one of the things is, if the decor of your home doesn't make you feel good, or the objects around are giving you bad energy, get rid of them. Change of environment, including if you can't afford to move, for example. Some people want to move, right, because they want to change their environment. But if you can't change your environment by moving, you can repaint the walls, change your furniture around. Do you know what I'm saying? You could do that type of thing. And that's one thing you should do. You should have things that make you feel good, make you feel elated, make you feel happy in your environment. Do you know what I mean? But the bows stay up, laugh out loud. Well, it's your place, isn't it, Ray? You're single. You can do what you like. It's a very big, that's why it's important. I mean, really, you need a lady who likes that type of stuff. You need a lady who likes bows and arrows and archery as much as you do. I'm sure there's got to be quite a few women archers. I bought it. Remember, yeah. So there must be, I mean, a lot of the trouble is, a lot with archers, a lot of them are going to be sexual, aren't they? Which is no good when you're asexual. But not everyone, not everyone who's sexual can't live without sex. Just the majority can't. And even some of the ones that say they can't. At least this guy was honest tonight, and I really appreciated that. At least he was honest. But it's just a shame, really. Obviously, with an asexual and sexual, if they're attracted to each other, it's like the sexual wishes the asexual could have sex or compromise, or have sex sometimes. And the asexuals, they're thinking, if they're sex repulsed asexual, don't want sex asexual, they're thinking, oh, I wish she could be without sex to be with me. Do you see what I mean? This is how the brains work. Sexual, I wish she'd have sex with me. Asexual, I wish she wouldn't have sex with me. I mean, it's two completely different things. And I try to use the true life example of the Kama Sutra like animation book I bought my ex. So if you don't know the story to that, basically my ex of 8.5 years in total, my last long-term ex, he was heterosexual. I thought I was heterosexual, didn't really like sex at the time. I didn't realise high levels of arousal are not the same as sexual attraction. I didn't experience sexual attraction, but I didn't know that. But sometimes we only have sex like every 2 or 3 months, so that felt better. And if I had to have it too much. So yeah, so basically he went in this shop and he was with me looking at books, and he opened this book up that he was kept reading, and it was like naked men and women in there with different sex positions. Now, as a sexual repulsive asexual, I hate that type of thing, and also I don't like it if boyfriends go around looking at another naked woman. Do you know what I mean? A book, it's like, you're with me, you shouldn't go around looking at naked women in books. You know, it's just not nice for me. I'm a bit old-fashioned in that way. You know, I believe if he's going to look at anyone, it should be my body naked. Not that I really want to look at my body naked, but there you go. Back then I did. Like, I was fully naked with him loads of the time, you know, because it was a sexual relationship, and I just did back then. And so anyway, so because he was really interested in this book and I wasn't very happy, you know, I wasn't happy about it in my brain. I was thinking, this is not good, I don't like it. So for Christmas, I got him this pocket book. It's a really tiny book with different animated, so it wasn't real people, it was drawings, animated sex positions, right? So it's like a cartoon type of drawing, you know, animation type of drawing with different positions, sex position. I got that just to read because I thought, well, I don't want to buy you the other book because I'm not happy with you looking at that, but this is okay, you like that type of thing, so I'll just buy you to read. I didn't think he would use that on me, the different sex position. I never thought of that, because this is how different. I tried to explain to this guy tonight, this is how different a sexual and asexual brain thinks. My brain didn't connect this book in any way, shape or form to anything he would do with me. I just thought it'd be nice for him to read that because he likes that type of thing. It's interesting for him. So here's a book to read. That's all I thought in my brain. Looking back, I know that sounds completely stupid and really weird. And like, how on earth can you not have noticed, Sandra, that he would then want to do that with you if he has sex with you? How would you not be able to think about it? I just didn't. It never entered my brain. Honestly, I thought this is a nice book that he can read for himself, that I'm okay with because it's not real people. And if he likes looking at that type of thing, there he goes. There. And I thought I was doing a favour and being nice to him. You know, like a compromising. Like, okay, you can look, you know, you can look at that type of thing. Like, I don't actually think I said to him, I don't like you looking at it. I can't remember if I did or not. I used to say that. I think I used to say I was uncomfortable with some of it, but I used to watch music videos with loads of stuff, and he was sexual anyway, not asexual. And but yeah, so I never associated. And then he was trying all these different positions out of me. I just like, what are you doing? Yes, oh, this is this position, that position. I just let him get on with it because it doesn't really interest me, you know. And let him take the lead on that. I'm like, whatever. And I didn't even register the names. And then I was doing some research last year. I think it was to do with my Asexual Guide to Sex that's coming out. And I just I looked at the I found a blog that was all about different sex positions, and I read loads of it. And I'm like, oh my goodness me, I think I've done like 3/4 of them with my ex. But I didn't know the names because I can't remember them because I wasn't interested in that. Do you know what I mean? It's not something that's priority or something I'm really interested in. I just don't go on with it. It's only because I could see it on they had cartoon drawings again on this blog, you know, not real people. And I'm like, oh my God, I've tried loads of them. Oh my OMG. And it's like, oh dear. You know what I mean? I've probably done a lot more things than some sexual people have done. As an asexual person, that's really, really weird for me to say that. It's like, oh my goodness me, I'm asexual. I've tried lots of these different positions. Yeah, probably some sexuals haven't even tried half of them. Do you know what I mean? So that's very bizarre as well. But yeah, so I told him this because I wanted this guy I had a meet up tonight with. I wanted to explain to him, like, try and get him to understand how an asexual mind works differently to a sexual mind. So I told him on my Asexual Guide to Sex, it's going to be the best sex book ever written because it really literally shows the difference between an asexual mind and a sexual mind. And when you're reading the stories of the asexual person, it's like an immersive experience. It's like you're in the brain of the asexual person whose story you're reading, right? And so it's like an immersive experience like no other. It's incredible. I'm very fortunate to be writing this book. I can't wait to get finished this year. It will be published. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I've still got quite a bit of work to do on it yet, but I'm really looking forward to publishing it and changing people's lives with it and changing people's perception of sex in general, that asexuality really does exist, that this is what it's actually like, feels like for an asexual. This is how we think about it, feel about it. This is how it actually is for us. So, you know, people can stop surmising or saying it doesn't exist or saying a load of rubbish like it's not true, or, you know, like, oh, they just don't get it. Now that they'll actually, if they read the book, they'll be actually able to understand asexuality much better. They'll be able to understand the minds of asexuals. They'll be able to understand how we don't naturally go, oh, I want sex. Do you know what I mean? They'll be able to get that. They'll be able to understand from this book. I really hope that loads of sexual people buy this book, not just asexuals, because I want sexuals to understand us. It has to happen at some point. Sexuals, the more sexuals that understand us, the better, and that take us seriously, the better. Because the less chance we have of asexuals getting into relationships that are really no good for us, that are very abusive sexually for us. Do you know what I mean? It's really important that more and more sexuals understand that there's people that don't want sex, so they don't take it for granted that everyone does. We need to save more lives in this way, you know, from being ruined, and for people getting to positions and being abused when they shouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? We need a big change in society. We really do. And I do believe this book will help. You know, it can't not help. It's just like so incredible. You know, it's a book I wished I'd had when I was 16 years old and asked for sex or pressurized into it at the time by my boyfriend at the time. You know, it's a really book I wish I had throughout all my teenage years and throughout adulthood, really, because when you're an adult, like, unless you've had a proper sex education, you really don't know a lot of this stuff, to be quite honest. You have to kind of pretend you do, or just not ask about it, or just not say you don't know, because, you know, it's kind of like society expects you to know about sex. Society expects you to know about all stuff to do with sex like it's natural, when it, but I mean, well, isn't. Anything's a skill learned, you know. So whether you're not having sex and hate sex, or whether you are having sex, anything's a skill. It's something to be learned if you want to learn it or don't want to learn it. You know, some asexuals might want to learn about sex even though they don't want to do it themselves. And this book specifically aimed at asexuals who are thinking about trying it for the first time ever, you know, and not sure whether it's for them or not. They want to make an informed choice and decision. And obviously some, I said obviously twice, and some asexuals would just want to read it for the insight it gives into the remarkable difference between the asexual mind and the sexual mind. You can really tell the difference. A lot of our sexual difference is to do with how we think in our mind and how we feel about things. As a result, you know, it's just incredible. It's like no book I've ever experienced in my life, and I just can't wait to get it out to the world. You know, I want all my asexual and sexual friends to buy it. The more people we have with eyeballs on asexuality and really understand it on a deep, fundamental level, the more we can get asexuality recognised completely across the world in its own right. You know, with now fear and what a title and pick. What a title and pick. I haven't. Yeah. The title's long. That's the title. I've got a subtitle, but Asexual Guide to Sex is the main title. Thanks for the thumbs up. Asexual Guide to Sex is the main title, and then there's a subtitle. But yeah, I'm not sure 100% exactly what the cover's going to look like yet. I think it might just be two colours, one colour for the writing, one colour for the book, but I don't know. I haven't designed the cover yet on this one. I'm going to wait till it's fully finished before I decide on the cover. But I have got two colours in mind, one for the writing and one for the book, which is different to my other books. So I'm not sure though. I don't want to reveal it in case I change my mind. So and I'm not sure I'm not sure about a picture on the front of it. I'm not sure about that yet. Or if it would just be writing and stuff, mostly. Not sure. Don't know. I'm leaving it until the book's finished. Then I'll decide on the cover what's best for it, which has been a bit different to some of my other books. I've had an idea partway through, but I have got an idea. But, you know, I want to keep it under wraps for now. I'm really excited about it. So, you know, I just think it's going to be an incredible book, you know, and I just really want everyone to buy it. Like some of my best asexual friend, they hate sex. They're sex repulsed, but they're still going to buy it because they just like reading books of mine. So who is not asexual? The guy that I had the meeting with, Eddie. I've just mostly said all this on the channel. If you read the title, it said, "But I'm not asexual," he said. So the guy that I saw tonight at the very, so the guy I saw tonight at the, I've gone through a lot of it, so you'll have to watch the replay because I don't want to repeat everything. But to cut a long story short, there were some things that were really, really good about him, right? Probably quite a lot of things actually. But you know, at the very, very end of the conversation, the very, very end of the night when we said goodbye, I said to him, I admitted to him, I said, I do have some aesthetic attraction for you, but I'm guessing you already knew that. And he said, yes. Because he'd already asked me the question, what's my ideal type? Like, look, what's my ideal type of guy look like? And I said, short, dark hair, clean shaven, thin with coloured skin, which basically pretty much fitted him, right? So it's pretty obvious he's asked me that question. So but I did say my top aesthetic attraction is for Indian guys and Bangladesh and the Middle Eastern, and then the rest, basically. So he's Egyptian. I did say there's one guy, the guy in Aladdin, he's Egyptian. I was attracted to him, so was my best friend Sam. We're both attracted to guys. But yeah, so at the end of the day, when I told him, I said I had an aesthetic attraction to him. I said, I guess you already knew that. He said, well, yeah. I said, because you asked me my ideal type and what that would look like. It's like, you goes, yeah, but I guess that because you liked my pic. I said, yeah, but I like the friend of you with your best friend. He's like, what best friend? And I said, well, I don't know who he was because you haven't really talked to me about your best friends, and you own a pic with you and your family as well. I said, I get people liking my pics as well. But I said, I was trying to look for wedding pics actually because he went to a wedding, but I couldn't see any on the. So I don't think I uploaded them. And I said, yeah. So anyway, I said to him about the fact that I'd have some aesthetic attraction. And he said, yeah, but I'm not asexual. And if you go back to the rest of the video to surmise, he couldn't live without sex. He feels it would be too difficult to control himself, and he would have to be constantly throughout his life with the asexual person, basically, with, hypothetically, if it was with someone like me, he would have to be constantly restraining himself and holding back and controlling himself all the time. And he doesn't think he could control himself. He thinks it'd be too difficult to be like that all his life, which is fair enough. It's the way he feels. Done, done, done. Yeah. Because I said some sexual guys can be with asexuals. I didn't mention your name, but I said there's a guy. I don't think I'll mention your name. He doesn't watch my channel anyway, I don't think. But I did say there's a guy on my channel and he's with an asexual girl and he waited 10 years to be with her, and it's the best, purest love he'll ever have. I said, so some sexual guys can be. I said, and they admit on my channel that they were a bad guy in the past and a player and all that type of thing weren't good. Hey, I have that fear, but I'm learning. Oh, you have that fear? That's really interesting. So I should do a sexual guide to living an asexual life, shouldn't I? Really, or being with an asexual. A guide for sexuals to be with asexuals. But I said to him at the end of the day, you can masturbate. I said, you can just masturbate yourself. You don't have to have actual intercourse. You can just masturbate. And I did say I need a strong guy like that. But I have dated sexual guys and they can do that, but I don't know if they could do that all their life. Exactly, Eddie. Exactly. Guys can masturbate themselves. Do you know what I mean? It's not exactly difficult because he started talking about blue balls. And I even had an asexual guy telling me he masturbated himself so he didn't get blue balls. But, he's going, oh, you don't have sex. Guy gets blue balls. I'm like, no. I'm like, he can just masturbate himself. He doesn't have to have his intercourse. Do you know what I mean? He truly doesn't. But, so yeah, that's how it ended up with him then. But I'm not asexual. It's a shame because he likes theme parks as well a lot. And he doesn't have sex before marriage, which is good. So he's not there trying to get women to sleep with him. I took that too far once. Oh, what, the masturbation too far or something else, Eddie? You'll have to explain. Or 100,000 times. What, you masturbated 100,000 times? Is that right? Or are we talking about something completely different? Yes, the self-love. You masturbated 1,000 times. Did you count that? Yeah, but if you're with yourself for a lot of years, like there's 365 days a year, isn't there? So 306, what is 1,000 divided by 365? Well, in life, exactly. Well, 1,000 divided by 365 is like, what? That's only like, it's only like 3 years, isn't it? Not in a day, I'd be a husk. Well, exactly. That's like, 1,000 divided by 365. I mean, that's really, do you know what I mean? That's like 3 years of masturbation. And when I think you said you're 42, didn't you? So that's 3 years out of your 42-year life. That's 39 years, completely no masturbation. It's only 3 years. Not that much, is it really? I don't think. I mean, some people masturbate several times a day. More like 7 times a day for a few months. Oh, right. Yeah, that is quite excessive. But it can be quite addictive. I kind of tried that, but it can get quite addictive. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the more you do it, the more your body wants it. And so I think the less you do it, once you stop it, I think it's easier to not do it again. But I mean, like, I don't think there's a problem doing that per se. So long as it doesn't hurt physically. Tired of it now. So long as it doesn't hurt physically. Well, I got to a situation where I was doing it quite a bit. Well, I never did that at all till 2014, after I found out I was asexual. Bizarre. I never masturbated. I never needed to, never thought about it, never did it, never tried it. And I had a traumatic, yeah. Oh, a problem happened. I stopped. Yeah. So sometimes it can hurt me doing that. So I don't do it really. Like, because I have fibro, it's not the best thing to do for me. Being honest and open on my channel completely. And also I got a bit, I have got a bit bored with that now. Like, I don't mind, occasionally or sometimes if I really want to, but I don't do it like, like, I didn't do it at all until 2014. And then I could see how it can get quite addictive. Not that I was doing it 7 times a day or even every day, but I don't think it's a bad thing if you want to do it. Sorry for the graphic stuff, everyone. Yeah. But there's quite a few asexuals that do masturbate, which is another myth. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a myth that asexuals don't masturbate, but there's still quite a few that actually do masturbate. I mean, in my asexual asexual perspectives, book, which is 47 asexual stories, love, life, and sex, a celebration of asexual diversity. By the way, the links to these 2 books are down below. If you want to get a copy. I mean, you can see this, it's a huge book. There are some people in here that masturbate. Like Eddie said, oh, I know they do. Exactly, And so, I have high levels of arousal, right? I do naturally. I don't have to do much, and kind of that does make me feel like masturbating. I'll be honest with you. It really does. And it's kind of hard. I don't like that word in this context. So, you know what I mean? I kind of like have to like either busy myself doing something else, not think about it, like distract my mind, or do that to relieve arousal. Really, the only other way it can naturally, is if I distract my mind and think about something else and do something else and not think about it or not act on it. But sometimes it's quite strong, and sometimes, yeah, like I feel like if I just do that, I'll get rid of the arousal quicker, then I can get on with my life and my day, and I can do other things. Do you know what I mean? Because it gets distracting. If you have high levels of arousal in your body, it just gets distracting. Huge mental battle now. It's done to just sleep. Yeah, I used to do it to wake me up. Everyone, even people in the book, right, that they do it to sleep, right? Asexuals do it to sleep. Some of them do it because they want to masturbate and relieve arousal. Other people do it to make them sleep. I used to do it some of the time just to keep myself awake. Like, if I got a lot of work to do, it's like, I'll do that. It wakes me up. So everyone else uses it to sleep. I used to use it to keep me awake. It's really funny because I'm like, how can I possibly want to sleep when that, like I'm doing that type of thing? It's a very rigorous activity, really. So, yeah, I used to do it for the opposite reason. But, I do get a bit fed up with it now, and I get a bit bored with it. And plus, I've always felt a bit sicky sometimes doing that. I prefer, if I'm honest, like if I'm in a relationship, for a guy to do that type of thing to me, not myself. But that sounds really weird because I'm asexual, and unless he does it a certain way, then I can't be having it anyway. It's just too much for me. So yeah, I know that sounds really weird, but oh well. You know how open I am on this channel. I mean, I'm writing my Asexual Guide to Sex book, which I'll be giving more personal details out about myself. So I can't really, anything I say, like a lot of my personal stuff's in this book anyway. You know what I mean? My whole personal story is, but not the complete thing, obviously, because I'm writing more of my Asexual Guide to Sex book. So my whole story in that part of the book, relevant to that part of the book. Every book I write part of my story. It's really, I got stories for every book I write, pretty much, apart from a few like more academic books. So yeah, I think obviously this guy's told me the truth. Oh, hi, my life. You say help. What do I need to help you with? You okay? So yeah, I'm glad this guy is honest with me. I'm glad there's a sexual guy who's being honest, and it's interesting to hear from his point of view how it feels, because he's not being nasty, he's not being over sexualized, he's not being like bad guy. He was also telling me like years ago, like when he was in his accommodation, which I've had before, he said, like the walls were so thin he could hear the people next door making love, which I did notice he used the word making love and not sex, which I thought was better, do you know what I mean, than lots of guys, because he said, I said, how did you cope with that, having thin walls like that? Because I used to be in a place with my ex, and they used to be like wafer thin walls and ceilings, right, because it was a converter flat. And I could hear the woman upstairs having sex with her guy. Do you know what I mean? It was horrible. And it was over the top of our bedroom. So when you were in the bedroom, your own bedroom, it made you like you were in the room, like, it was like you were in the room and these people were having sex, in the room type thing. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I still have some questions. Like, what is the difference between sex and sexual in the view of asexuals? All right, so first question is from Eddie, and then I'll answer my life's question. Okay, so I'll answer Eddie's question first because he got to ask me his question first, then I'll answer your question, my life. So Eddie, like, I still have some questions, like, what is the difference between sex and sexual in the view of asexuals in the context of touching? Okay, Eddie, thank you for the question. So what is the difference between sex and sexual in the view of asexual in the context of touching? Right, you would have to ask your individual partner this, because every asexual is different. Like, some asexuals, they don't mind being touched, others do. So some asexuals are sensual but not sexual. So some asexuals class things, for example, as massage, not sexual, as massaging the shoulders and that not being sexual. Some asexuals don't mind being naked and have certain parts of their body stroked because they like sensual stuff. Like, I'm sensual, for example, with the guy's upper part of the body. I'm very sensual, so I like to stroke the guy's hair, stroke the guy's shoulders, stroke the guy's chest, stroke the guy's face, all this upper body. But below the waist, I don't. I mean, if I'm sat on his lap, I don't maybe stroke his legs up, down, it's further, like some of his legs, but not his penis area, right? To be blunt with you. So you would just, so you would have to ask your partner before you got to that stage what she likes in terms of touching. Does she like to be touched? If so, where and how, and what does she like? Would she like you to do? Like, some asexuals, they don't like any touching. They're touch adverse. They don't even want a cuddle or a hug. Obviously, if you're cuddling, like, for example, if you're cuddling an asexual, some asexuals might not mind you having your arms around them, right? But not touching their breasts, right? Some other asexuals like spooning. So you're in bed with them and then you're putting your hands round them, but it might be around their waist. They might not have their breasts being touched, whereas other people might not mind their breasts. So if I had a guy, for example, in a nightclub, right, which is, if I had a sexual guy, I'm not his girlfriend, right? A sexual guy in a nightclub, and he put his arms around me, but he was putting his arms around me specifically from the back and touching my breasts, that would be sexual to me, right? if he had his arms around my back cuddling me, and I was, you know, attracted to him, I would ideally like to date him, then, you know, that would be fine, because his hands around my back is not sexual. He's not touching my parts that would be sexual. So not touching my breasts or vagina, or, you know, like bum can be sexual, non-sexual to some people, like, you know, anything to do with sexual organs. I'll answer you in a minute, my life. I haven't forgotten you. I'm just trying to answer Eddie to make sure that I'm trying to help him, because I know he's got a girlfriend as well and he needs help. So I would really, really suggest you have an open, honest conversation about your girlfriend, saying, do you like any touching relationship? You know, are you okay with cuddling? Or, you know, what do you feel about kissing at all, or not? You know, like if I'm like cuddling you with my hands, where would you like me to put them? So for me, I've got a lot more sexual behavior than some asexuals. So I don't, you know, I'm quite happy to be on a bed with my body, with my legs entwined with my partner, with my clothes on. I can get very, very super close with the guy, like pretty much smack connected to him like this, with my clothes on. But if my clothes start to come off and he started touching my breasts, that would be sexual to me. And that wouldn't be good for me. Even though I've got sexual behavior with the close body contact, I think that's more like teenager kids, like 15-year-old stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? So each person is different. Every asexual is different. So you have to talk to your partner about this and ask them what they are, what they like and what they don't like. And be very careful how you phrase it. I think you don't want to start saying full on touching stuff to them, but you'd have to kind of like say, okay, you know, obviously I'm not asexual, I'm sexual, but, you know, I really am loving the relationship I've got with you, feeling really good about it, everything's great, and I don't want to upset or offend you by accident. Obviously, you know, how do you feel about any touching in a relationship? Because I know some asexuals don't like any touching, some don't mind a bit. You know, what do you like in terms of cuddling, holding hands, you know, like stroking the hair, all that type of thing. So you kind of got to be careful how much to phrase it, like gauge how they are. If they start saying stuff, you know, like if you start saying stuff and they react a bit like, oh, that's a bit scary, then obviously, you know you're on the wrong track there, and you're like, they want less of that. Do you know what I mean? So some asexuals see certain parts of touching the body, the naked body, massage, they see that as sensual, not sexual, whereas a sexual guy or person would see that as highly sexual. If I was with a heterosexual and they were massaging me all over my body, it would be because they want sex with me and they're enjoying that and probably getting really highly turned on by it. Whereas an asexual person would just be like, oh, this massage feels good. This is nice. We have good communication on many things. I just need some answers, because she doesn't really know. Like, it's like a trial and error. Yeah. So if she doesn't know, what I would advise you to do is tell her that she can be in control of the situation as much as possible, that you're happy for her to try whatever she wants, and that if she wanted to just try some things with you, even if it's just once, and let her know that if she doesn't ever want to do that again, it's okay. Because sometimes until you're actually in a relationship with someone, you don't know. Like, I personally at the moment hate nudity, but I've been completely naked with a guy in the past. So I don't know if I was in serious, committed, long-term relationship, that might change. And I might decide, well, I really trust him. I can't see he's ever going to be with anyone else. I really love him. And maybe I would be okay with taking my clothes off, or some of them, or at least down to my underwear, maybe in the future. Do you know what I mean? So I could change, but I don't know, because I haven't been in a relationship for a very long time. Honestly, there are few things that I'm not 100% sure about. Do you know what I mean? One thing I'm sure about is I don't want sex again. And I don't really like touching a guy below the waist. But again, I don't know if I could ever do that. I don't really want to do oral sex again. I don't know if I could ever touch his penis. Maybe over clothes I could. Maybe I'll be okay with over clothes. Do you know what I mean? Maybe. So I think you have to, if she doesn't know what she likes, like trial and error, and then ask her permission. So if you'd like to cuddle her, ask her, say, I'd like to cuddle you. Or if you were thinking about any touching whatsoever, I'll say, I'm thinking about trying this with you. How would that feel to you? If you know, like, make sure she's in complete control all the time, that she gives her permission for you to try something with her, and if she doesn't like it, she's safe to tell you that and know that you're not going to pursue it anymore. That's the best thing. Because if I was with a guy and I wanted to do some experimenting and I wanted to try some stuff, I would want to completely know that he was okay if I decided that I didn't want to carry on doing it, that I could say no and stop at any time. I think that's really important as well. Tell her anything you do, anything, because you aren't, you're not asexual, but you're quite happy to have that type of life with her. You love her implicitly, but just say to her anytime she's uncomfortable with anything, all she has to do is tell you, and you will stop doing that for her. Do you know what I mean? It's best for the asexual to be in control in sexual stuff as much as possible, and for you to ask her permission to do things, and so she feels like she's in control of the situation as much as possible, that anything she says she doesn't want to do, you will completely stop doing that thing, and that she can be her true authentic self with you, and she doesn't feel pressurized or pushed into doing anything she doesn't want to do. And if you're okay with her touching you, because some guys, sexual guys, say to me, "Oh right, well, don't ever say," because this is a really annoying thing, sexual guys they go, "Oh, you're the one who has a problem with touching. I don't. You can touch me anywhere." Now that's the wrong wording to use. What they should say is, like, "I appreciate the fact that you're asexual and don't like being touched in certain places, but I'm happy for you to touch me anywhere if you want to at any point in time. Feel free to do that. I'm quite happy for that because I love you so much, and I'm obviously don't mind anything like that because of because of my sexual orientation, so I respect your sexual orientation, but I just want to let you know you can do anything to me if you want that. Do you know what I mean? Because I have some guys, and that kind of gives me free reign then. It kind of like thinks, well, I've put boundaries in place knowing that I don't want him to touch me here, I don't want him to touch me there, but I'm allowed to do whatever I want to him. And sometimes by having that total control, if you don't mind, and by the guy saying you can do anything to me, and by the guy just like not pressurizing me to do things, actually it kind of makes me sometimes want to try may want to touch him some more in different places, or may just naturally touch him a bit more because I know he's fine with it. So if I want to touch his bum, for example, do you know what I mean? Because I don't actually mind touching the guy in certain places. Thanks for the thumbs up. I don't mind touching the guy in certain places. I don't mind touching his body unless it's a penis area I'm not very happy with. But do you know what I mean? Like his chest, I'm quite happy to rub down his chest, kiss all down his chest, like even maybe touch his bum, maybe. I'm quite happy to do a lot of stuff to him. It's stuff that I don't really want doing to myself, So it might be a case that she doesn't mind doing some stuff to you. But I mean, I know she's aromantic asexual, but she does have some romantic notions there, and she might like some touching. Do you know what I mean? You just have to make her feel completely safe, completely secure. She's in control of the situation. You ask permission to do things, so it's consensual. Everything's consensual, and that if you do try anything together, that she's completely safe to say that, "Oh no, I don't like this. Can I stop?" Because the danger for asexuals is if they try something, the sexual wants to carry on, the asexual doesn't, then you have to split up. Does that make sense? So that's a danger, like it might be something, like for example, maybe an asexual does want to try sex. There's a question in my Asexual Guide to Sex book actually, which is basically, if you said to your partner you wanted to try something once with them, and if you didn't like it, you wouldn't do it again, do you think the relationship could last? Which is a very good question, right? And most of it is, if someone was sexual and you tried having sex with them and decided you didn't like it, especially if you'd never told the sexual person up front you didn't like it, then the relationship probably wouldn't last. Do you know what I mean? I mean, people give various answers, but in the general gist, there's people, it probably wouldn't last. But they'd have to be very upfront and honest. So, like if I wanted to go back and try sex for one final time, do you know what I mean? Like have a go at it. If I was with a sexual guy, can you just imagine he wouldn't be able to like not want that again if he's highly sexual. I have told her if she wanted to try it, fine, but if not, still fine. Yeah. And if she wants to try it, I would let her like, I would do lots of talking and ask her if she wanted to go first, maybe if she wanted you to be on top or her to be on top, or if she did decide she wanted to try it. Do you know what I mean? So I would ask her how she wants it. And like, I like to go on top of a guy sometimes because I can control the amount of penetration. So that if I don't want it, I can just pull out straight away. That's in the past, like when I was on top. Obviously, I like kissing on top now rather than having sex. But if I was going to do sex again, I think I would go that route. Not that I'm having sex again, but if I was to try it again or ever wanted to, I probably would be on top again so that I could feel in control and I can come out at any single point in time I want. Do you know what I mean? Plus, it's kind of better that way because if the penis goes, I'm being very explicit, everyone here, right? So if you don't want to hear this, don't listen. But if a guy's got a condom on, which he should always wear, right, you have to get all the air bubbles out, which people don't always know. And once the penis becomes flaccid, the sperm kind of goes back. So obviously, if the guy is the one underneath you, the sperm then drips back to him. So it's not going into me or the woman or whoever. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of a bit more safer that way as well, so long as nothing happens to the condom and it splits. Do you know what I mean? So you know what I mean, or leaks or whatever, you know, like it's got a problem, faulty basically, you know, so that way is better as well. It's kind of a bit more safer, I think, for the woman, but it's a lot of work for the woman. She's kind of got to have really strong shoulders, unless she could lie on a pillow maybe and try that a bit, like prop herself up with loads of pillows either side. So I think, you know, you really have to have open conversation, but she has to know that if she changes her mind, you're completely safe with that. I think sometimes with the women feeling more in control as much as possible, they're more likely to want to do stuff. Like I said, if I've got a guy who's like, oh, you can touch me anywhere, like maybe sometimes I might tickle him and it ends up being on his penis, you know, with his jeans on. Or I end up stroking that for a bit of fun or something because I was just like, you know, he's not pressurizing me. And maybe sometimes I'm that kissing him all over that I happen to touch that by accident or something. He's like, oh, it's okay, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? It can feel a bit naughty and that I'm in control and fun at the same time, you know. But obviously, if a guy was putting my hand, do not put your hand, do not ever go and grab I don't think you do this anyway, Eddie, but don't ever put your hand on anyone. I don't think you do this, but I've had a guy in the past who put my hand on his penis. It's disgusting. It's like it was sexual abuse because he was trying to have sex with me at the same time. So don't ever like grab hold of a girl's hand and push it on there. Make her feel that anything she does, her body's free. She can do what she likes. You know, she's in control. Do you know what I mean? It's much better. I'll be writing a lot of this stuff in my Asexual Guide to Sex book in my part of the book, actually. It's a good job you brought it up. Thank you. Right. Let me get on with Closer to the Desert. Yeah. Let me get on with my last question now. My boyfriend can't stand the cold and is sensitive to it and loves heat and wants to move to Texas. It was already on my might move to list. And I prefer a chilled air, not like winter though. I hate winter and snow. Right, okay. I can't stand the heat at all. I just found out how hot Texas is. I'm too afraid to have the conversation. I heard North Texas is colder. Right, okay. My life. I gotta speak to you seriously now. I think it's very difficult for you, right? Because I know how much you care about your boyfriend, right? But your boyfriend does appear to be the leader in the relationship, which is quite a masculine thing anyway, right? But he does appear to want a lot of the relationship his way, if I'm being honest. However kind, however nice he is with gifts and all that lot, he seems to be controlling the whole relationship in the sense of what you do, when you kiss, when you cuddle, where you move to, right? So I'm just being very blunt with you now. Just be very careful that he's a kind, caring person and not a controlling person. I haven't said this to you before because I was listening to you over a period of time with your boyfriend, but you do not want, I'm just super sub as in submissive. Yeah, but he's dominant, you're submissive, right? But you've just got to be careful that it is a healthy type of dominant submissive relationship and not that he's a controller. I don't know him. I don't know what he's like. I'm only putting that suggestion. Just be aware. If it, you know, like a lot of guys are alpha males, they like to lead the relationship. A very traditional male-female relationship from years ago was where the woman goes where the guy is, the woman cooks for the guy, the woman cleans for the guy, the woman moves where the guy is, the woman goes where the guy's career is. That's a very classic old-fashioned relationship. And some people love that type of relationship, and there's nothing wrong with it if it's not an unhealthy type of relationship. If both people want that, both people are happy with that, that's what works for them, right? The only situation you don't want to be in is where the guy is calling all the shots, and if you don't do what he says, he will leave you. You never want to be in that situation, right? Because you have equal as much right to say what you want in the relationship and to equally leave. So he didn't make me want to move there. It was my choice, right? Okay, it was on my list originally because of snow, high UFO rate, and Bigfoot in wooded areas and country areas. Well, that's good. That's good. But you're going to have the conversation with him and see how he relaxes, aren't you? Because if you can't stand the cold, your boyfriend can't stand the cold, is sensitive to it and loves the heat, and you need more cold, that is going to be a bit of a problem, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I can't work in cold, but so I have to have like a heater on or hot water bottles in bed because it's cold in the UK, freezing quite a lot of the time. So I have to have hot water bottles in bed and a heater and stuff like that. But like similarly, if I'm in heat all the time, it's hard to work then. I think it's good to get a balance. So, I don't know your boyfriend and everything, but I do know obviously he's the leader of the relationship, isn't it? You like warmth. Right, okay. You like warmth, yeah. So you're not saying, yeah, so your boyfriend can't stand the cold, he prefers the heat, and you like warmth, but not hot temperatures. Yeah, so you're going to have the conversation with him. I mean, that is my only concern for you, is your boyfriend does seem to lead the relationship, and everything that he wants, he seems to be getting. So I just want him to be with you for you and realize that you might not like everything he likes, and that maybe he needs to compromise a bit on stuff that you don't like, and have a more equal relationship. But I have a feeling he's very alpha male and kind of wants to be in control of the relationship. What you just have to do is actually, I asked to kiss his cheek and he said yes, and I did. Yeah, but why did you have to ask his permission to do that in a way? Do you know what I'm saying? It's a bit like, do you know what I mean? It's a bit like usually when you're a young teenager, you're kind of like kissing each other and not having to ask permission for it. Do you know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? Respect, yeah. I mean, it is important to ask permission to do something. But obviously you've been, some people that are in the relationship for a while, he did ask me first and I agreed and he kissed my cheek. Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, it's good to have a respectful relationship. Like I was saying to Eddie, it's very important that you ask permission for things. But you know what I mean? So it's good. I think you need to tell him though, don't you? You can't not say anything to him, because you can't go and move to a place. He's a gentleman, I am too. Well, that's good. That's good. That's good. But yeah, if you're a gentleman too, then but you're a submissive gentleman and he's a submissive, he's a leader type guy. But yeah, I think you have to still share your feelings with him. Do you know what I mean? I think you have to share your feelings with him and tell him how you feel, and like you say, maybe suggest Texas is an inferno. Yeah, maybe suggest North Texas. Do you know what I mean? But it seems to me he's set on his heart on going to Texas. So I think you need to have an open, honest conversation about it. Because you're going to have to. You can't lead a life where you're in a relationship with someone and not tell them the truth. But anyone risks losing people. If you tell people the truth, what you really like, anyone risks losing the person, don't they? So, but at the end of the day, you can't not be your true, authentic self. Do you know what I mean? Because you'll end up being miserable yourself, which won't help the relationship. I mean, my friend, best female friend now, she's got a really good guy in the sense that if she's upset, I will have the conversation. Good, bless you. Because my best friend now, my best female friend's with a good guy in the sense that he listens to her. Like if she's upset, he'll actually say, I can see you're upset, and it upsets me to see you upset. So what are we going to do about this to sort it out? Do you know what I mean? Because I feel bad that you're upset and I don't want you being this way. Like, it's not like that now, but in the beginning she moved and she, thank you, sis. Oh, thank you. In the beginning, she moved and she moved away from her friends and everyone she knew, and she went to live with him. And oh, you update me tomorrow. This is great. I'm having a convo. That's good. Yes, that's really good. It's good. And so, you know, if a guy cares about you, in essence, what I was trying to say in my life is if he cares about you and how you feel, and he knows that would be uncomfortable or unsuitable and it would be a bit upsetting for you, say it in a kind of like not a really, really emotional state, like panicky state. Say it in just a very adult way as you can. Just say, you know, like, I appreciate you want to move there. I'm really up for moving to Texas, but you know, I don't really work well in heat, and I realize it's going to be really hot out there, and I'm not going to be able to function very well out there. So I prefer it if we move to North Texas, if that's possible. You know, say that type of thing to him. I think it's good. You know, be kind of like quite unemotionally affected by it at this point. It's going to be easier to be more unemotionally affected by it at this time in your life than it is if you actually moved out there. So if you moved out there, you know, you'd be like, if you hated it, you'd be really upset. So yeah, with my best female friend, she left all her friends behind and just went and lived with her guy. And he saw originally she was unhappy, you know, not to be with him, but just the fact of leaving her friends. And now it's different because they worked it out so that she goes back and sees her friends where she used to live, and comes especially to see me, and she gets to see him all the time and be with him the rest of the time. So, you know, and he bought her a car so she can come and go to Pleasers and come and see her friends as well. So this is incredible. She hadn't had a car for years. So because he really cares about and loves her in that way and wants her to be happy. And I think that's what a good guy does, you know. If a good guy really cares about their partner, they want them to be happy, then they won't want to see them upset, you know. And they'll just, you know, like, you know, really support that person. You know, that's why, you know, if I were the heterosexual guy, I like to be in complete control of, not controlling him, but in control of the situation where any sexual stuff is concerned. Like, sexual guys can tend to like putting me against the wall and kissing me, but I kind of feel a bit trapped like that. So I kind of like to turn around and they can be against the wall like I said. Do you know what I mean? Actually, some guys in nightclubs like to do that. They like to be against the wall and me kissing them, which I guess is a more, you know, I'm kind of more the dominant girl in that respect. I'm not a submissive type anyway. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind a guy being on top kissing me some of the time though, because my arms end up hurting too much. Do you know what I mean? Being on top all the time kissing. But I kind of like, you know, I kind of like my freedom to kiss my guy when I want, sit on his lap, cuddle him, all that type of thing. So yeah, I like the freedom to be able to be assertive and be myself. And it's kind of nice when a sexual guy does so. You can do what you like to me in some ways. In one way, it's a bit weird because it's like, okay, hope you don't say this to loads of people. Which obviously, if it's not a very good sexual guy, they probably are doing. But if it's a partner who genuinely loves and cares, you know, it'd be like, you know, you can do whatever. I'm okay about it. I don't have any, you know, like places you can't touch me. But like I said, don't ever say to an asexual stuff like, you know, like I've had to me, like, you know, that just makes it sound like I've got, you know, like I'm not like you know, you could do what I like to me. I don't have these restrictions, you know. It makes it sound like the asexual is just, you know, being like that kind of like in spite of sexuals, but it's not like that. Asexuals just aren't naturally into sex, and we're not actually, you know, naturally into sexual touching per se, and we're not interested in all that type of thing. So, you know what I mean? It's not we're restricting the guy. I mean, I got a guy on Avon, right? And he is a sexual guy messaging me. And he said, you know, if you were to kiss me, I'd love it. And not have sex with me because he gets turned on by forbidden sex, basically. And which is quite strange. Yeah. So that's why he's interested in asexuals, not because he's actually asexual himself. and and it kind of turn him on like that, forbidden sex. But it's like, oh, and you'd be you'd be forbidding, you wouldn't be letting me do that, you'd be like the one in control. It's like, it's not about control. I'm not trying to control a guy by not having sex with him. I just literally don't want it. I don't feel that way. And like, I'm asexual, I don't experience sexual attraction, so it'd be like abusing myself, trying to force myself to do that with guys. It's not like I'm forbidding it. I'm just being honest, saying this is my sexual orientation. I'm not sexually attracted to anyone. In my case, I'm a sex repulsed asexual. It's my sexual orientation. It's natural for me to be this way. I'm not forbidding you to do anything. I'm not controlling you. I'm saying what my boundaries are, and they just don't like this, and it's not comfortable for me. It's not good for me. And if you want that, find someone else. Do you know what I mean? So I don't like the fact that, like, some sexuals say the wrong things. They say things that's very hurtful to asexuals, it's not a case of we're trying to restrict you or forbid you or stand out. It's kind of, we're putting boundaries in and only doing what feels good to us and right to us, Even by being with a sexual person, we're kind of pushing ourselves because, it's easier a lot of the time for us to be with other asexuals, people who understand us, people who get the fact that we don't like sex, people who naturally don't want that. People are not going to be panting, going, give me sex. Or, for me to be with a sexual person in comparison to an asexual person, if I'm around asexual guys, right, for example, there's no sexual energy from them, right? They're really not bothered about sex. I'm not being threatened with sex. There's no sexual energy from them. I'm safe with them. They can come in my bedroom and I know they're not going to jump on me and try to have sex with me. I'm not going to talk about any, sexual stuff towards me. I know I'm completely safe with them. It's a safe environment. But if I'm with a sexual guy, I'm risking a lot, I'm risking the fact he could turn around and try and push himself on me for sex. I'm risking the fact that he doesn't think like me in the first place. I'm risking the fact that he is sexual in his natural demeanor and I'm not in that way, although I have some sexual behavior. I'm not sexual per se. And I'm risking a heck of a lot being with a sexual. It's like, I'm risking a lack of understanding, a lack of being understood. I'm risking not having a deep soulmate connection because they really don't connect with me on that asexual, deep emotional connection level. So I'm risking a heck of a lot by being with a sexual. So, like, a lot of sexuals don't even understand this. They think, oh, I'm sacrificing not having sex. I'm holding myself back. I'm really like the bad people that do this. Like, I'm hard done by. The asexuals deny me sex. It's not like that. It's not like we denying you sex. It's because we don't want it. It's like self-abuse. Do you know what I mean? It's like us saying, oh, light a match and like put some of your hair, like cut some, or put some of your hair, like, I don't know, no, that's a bad analogy. Well, it's like, I don't know, like shaving half of your head off, and I don't know, but it's like doing something yourself that you'd absolutely hate and despise, that you don't actually want to do, and forcing yourself to do it. I'll have to go. Time to catch some bad owners again. Take care all. Love you, Sandra. Oh, thank you, Ray. Lots of love. Thanks for being on the stream all this time. Thank you. Bye. But yeah, so do you know what I mean? It's like, it's like not easy asexual and sexual relation, but most people online think sexuals are so hard done by not having sex. But just imagine if you're asexual trying to, like, knowing that the sexual person is going to be sexually attracted to you, and knowing that you don't want sex with them. I mean, it can make the asexual feel guilty, which they shouldn't be feeling, and you don't want that type of relationship. If you can't be with an asexual and be happy not having sex, I mean, it's going to be a bit difficult for you. And there are going to be things like erections going on if it's a guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with guys having erections. I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem if they want to use their erection on me for having sex. That's when I have a problem. But I actually have a problem with a guy who is my boyfriend having erections. I think, oh, it's good you're sexually attracted to me rather than other people. Like, some asexuals would be a problem with that. They wouldn't want to feel the penis, like, when they're kissing, or they wouldn't want to be anywhere near it. They might not want to see that. They might be really put off by it. But I don't get put off by that. I have no problem with that. I just have a problem if it's coming near my private vagina part. Do you know what I mean? And they're trying to have sex, and that's why I have a problem. It's like, don't come near that. You know what I mean? That's, like, be fully clothed if you're gonna have your pants on, have your jeans on, make sure you got loads of clothes on. Me too. Like, if you're in that situation, and be careful what you're doing, that something doesn't go in the wrong place. by accident, you know. So you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, it's very risky for an asexual that doesn't like sex, very risky. And to give their heart to a sexual person and to fully be emotionally connected to them, you know, because the sexual theoretically could turn around at any point, have an affair, which you hope to hell they don't do, and could leave them for a sexual person, you know. So that's really bad. But the only thing, you know, in asexuals' favours even more is the fact there is quite a lot of asexuals online. I have asexual friends in person, and I know that I could get a guy potentially with, you know, there's lots of guys out there potentially for me that can be without sex, and that pushes more an even keel. It's like, well, the sexual might be like, well, I could get a sexual girl elsewhere, and it's like, well, yeah, but I could get an asexual guy elsewhere. I'm equally sacrificing not being with an asexual guy to be with you. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm making that sacrifice. Well, I could possibly be having a more comfortable, safer life, less worry, less stress, less anxiety by being with an asexual guy. Someone I don't have to worry about having an affair ever, because he don't like, you know, if it's an asexual that usually doesn't like sex. So I don't have to worry about having an affair, having sex with someone else, cheating on me, you know, someone who understands me better. You know, if I'm with a sexual person, I'm missing out on all that a lot of the time, because a lot of asexuals, they just don't understand as well as asexuals. They don't get me on that deep level. I can't even connect to them on a deep soulmate level. There's kind of like something in between us, like a rock type thing that doesn't really, you know, like with asexuals, they just naturally understand me. And so it's so much easier, the conversation, you know, because I can say to asexuals, oh God, sex is so rubbish, boring, not interested in it, ha ha. Whereas if you say that to a sexual person, obviously if they're sexual, they're not really going to be thinking that way, are they? They kind of might, you know, you know, if you're with a sexual, you could say, well, I really don't like sex. But if you're starting saying sex is rubbish, bad, blah blah blah, and they're sexual, you might actually be offending the sexual person. You know what I mean? Just like if they started saying, oh, I loved my past sexual life. Yeah, I had loads of sex in the past. That's the worst, one of the worst things you can say to asexuals, especially in that way, because it seems like boasting, you know? If you start to say like, well, you know, I have to admit, I have had lots of sex in the past, but I am changed these days. And, you know, this is how I've changed. This is why I've changed. You've got to have a why for why you've changed. Do you know what I mean? If you're just saying it, it's no good. You know what I mean? If you're not genuine, don't bother. You know, why? I don't understand why so many sexuals pursue asexuals that don't want sex. If they do want sex, what's the point? You know, I think the whole idea is a sexual thinks they can change an asexual mind, and an asexual does actually hope that a sexual person will change their mind. So I think we're both a bit guilty in that respect, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, you know, you've just got to be honest with yourself and with the other person, and watch what you say. You know, like if a guy says I had loads of sex in the past, it just puts me off him. Especially if he's saying it that way, oh, I had lots of sex in the past. I really enjoyed it as well. It's like, really enjoyed it. Well, I don't want to stop you enjoying yourself. Off you go. Bye. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because you feel like, well, I'm not going to be able to satisfy you in a relationship if you loved sex that much. Do you know what I mean? So I think just be very, very careful with what you say and how you approach things, and just be a bit sensitive and caring, you know. But it's difficult for me because I feel like I'm 100% asexual because I don't experience any sexual attraction. I'm more suited to an asexual guy in terms of like I don't want the worry, stress, anxiety of a sexual guy possibly going off with someone else. But at the same time, with my sexual behaviour, I'm more suited to a sexual guy, and all the kissing I like to do, and all that type of like, you know, like sitting on guy's lap type of thing with clothes on, and I'm more suited to a sexual guy like that. So I'm kind of a bit stuck. You know, I really want an asexual guy because I think it's better and healthier for me in body, mind, and spirit. But you know, sexuals, if I got a sexual guy that very much was 100% honest, trustworthy, and he really, you know, didn't believe in having sex outside of a relationship, and therefore if he's with me being a monogamous no sex relationship, it's possible it could work, but I don't know if he could sustain that long term, especially with me, because I know guys get highly sexually attracted to me very quickly, and I think try and keep himself back, especially with all the kissing and everything else I like, I think he'd find that harder, to be quite honest with you, a lot harder, because, you know, like most guys want sex with me in 5 minutes flat when I kiss them. That's pretty much it. And so, you know, I know some sexual guys I've dated, or even that guy I was in a relationship with 3 weeks last year, he didn't have sex with me, but we did get more and more passionate and touchy-feely as time went on. So yeah, I think, you know, it might have ended up going somewhere I didn't really want it to go, or may have just, you know, like not been great. So anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. I think I've talked enough. I was emotional at the beginning of this video, but now I've gone into the educational mode, as you could see. So yeah, the guy I met up with, to cut a long story short, said I'm not asexual. So I did tell him I had some asexual attraction for him, and he was asking me questions about myself to find out my asexuality and if I could, you know, like how it really was for me, to understand me better, which was nice. But then at the end of the day, he feels that he couldn't stop himself having sex all the time because that'd be too much for him, too much to continually control, and it would be too difficult for him. So yeah, but he's not asexual basically. So yeah, it's a bit sad, but you know, it's the way it is in life. And I believe there's someone for everyone out there, including me, but I'm happy being single at the moment, and I need to focus on my career and my single life for now, and not actively pursue guys and see what comes up. Anyway, really appreciate being here. Thank you so much, Eddie. And as always, you're a valuable part of this community. I love you being here. I love to hear your view as someone who's not asexual but still get your support. I really appreciate you being with an asexual person, even though you're not asexual yourself. I love you dearly as a friend and channel watcher of that. Obviously that's it, because you've got a girlfriend and I don't love my viewers in that way. Obviously my two best asexual friends I do, but you know what I'm saying. Much love to you as a viewer and fellow supporter of asexuality and appreciator of asexuality and the fact you love your girlfriend. So I just want to say thank you so much for being on this channel. You know, I send you lots of viewer love, as it were, and thank you so much for my life. I know you've gone now, and thank you, Ray. I know you've gone now, but you might be on the replay. So thanks everyone for taking part tonight. I really appreciate you. Thanks Richard as well. Really appreciate you, and thank you for being here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps to raise awareness of asexuality. If you missed the beginning of this live stream, please watch it on the replay. After I've gone off, it will go and be available for you to view. And as always, share this channel, Asexualize My Asexual Life, with any family and friends you think may benefit from it, or someone who just needs to hear this content, which is very important and valuable. Relationships are one of the things that's most focused on in life. So it's important we get them right, and it's important that we, you know, that we listen and respect each other, and you know, understand each other. Asexuals and sexuals really need to understand each other, because we're in this world together, whether we like it or not. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, we're in the minority as asexuals, and the sexuals are in the majority, but we've still got to understand each other. It's much better for life, society, and the world, and the children of tomorrow. So anyway, embrace your quirky and each other. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe, and hit that great big bell icon to get notified every time I go live, like now, post a new video. I know there's been people watching that haven't actually contributed to the chat tonight, but I love you all dearly. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video live stream. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone. Bye.